here we go. We are gonna find out what happens in book 3. I'm super excited. Hi, my name is Paige. Welcome to my channel. So I have been trying to read all of the ACOTAR series. I have already read book 1 and book 2, and I will link those down below if you would like to watch those before you watch this one. But essentially, I am just reacting to everything that happens in this series. I have some pretty strong opinions about Tamlin. We really don't like him over here. I am definitely a Rhysand stan. I can't help it. He's perfect. I love him. But Feyre, I kind of find pretty boring. She's grown on me a little bit, but I also dislike Elaine. I feel like that's a hot take, but she kind of seems not like a great person, even though she's supposed to be super innocent and lovely, but not a fan of her. Nesta, I don't mind. I actually don't mind her. She's kind of mean, but I don't mind her very much. Who else do I like? Asriel and Cassian, I'm a fan. More, I'm a fan. Yeah, I feel like mostly everyone I'm a fan of, except for Tamlin and Elaine. So let's see how I feel going forward with this. If this ends on a cliffhanger though, I'm going to be so angry. I don't own the 4th book. So I'm hoping that this like resolves itself and it resolves all the storylines that go on in this. And then book 4 like opens up a next chapter. Cause I can't handle another cliffhanger like book 2 ended on. That was just rude. Okay. Enough of me talking, let's read. All right, I've made it about 40 pages in, and I feel like this book is made with Bible pages. They are so thin, it's taking forever to read just one chapter. I just started chapter 4, and I feel like I've been reading for like 14 hours. So I feel like this is gonna be a long one to get through. But already, it's so much better at the beginning than I feel like both book 1 and book 2 were. The beginnings of both of them just were a little bit laggy. This one, I am so intrigued by Feyre just lying to the spring court and being in her mind as she kind of tries to hatch out a plan for what she's gonna do to just ruin them. So I'm really enjoying that. Also, while I was reading, I was thinking that Lucien and Elaine being mates makes so much sense to me because they are both just like the most passive, horrible people in the whole series. Like, they are the type of people who just let awful things happen to others, and because they don't participate in the awful things that are happening, they're just like not so bad, you know? They have like that same personality, so I get that they're mates because they're just kind of trash people. Even though Lucien was probably my favorite of the 1st book aside from Rhysand. So that was just a little tidbit. I'm going back to reading. Hold up, wait, I'm on page like 79, and I'm starting to get the sense that, I don't know, is this just me like always wanting this to happen? But I kind of feel like Feyre might be pregnant. I know in the last book they talked about like that they weren't ready, but she keeps mentioning how like her powers are getting weaker and weaker. And I'm just wondering if that's like a Fae thing that happens when they get pregnant. I'm kind of hoping that she's pregnant. I was wrong. It was just poison. They have been reunited and I'm so happy. But they keep promising that it'll never happen again. So does that mean it's definitely gonna happen again? Because that's gonna suck. It took like, what, 120, 30 pages for them to get back together? I can't do it again. I think Cassian is becoming my favorite. He's just like a protective teddy bear. I love him. And the way that he was like so worried about Feyre and he's so mad at her because he didn't know her plan. And we're just so worried that something would happen to her. He's a good guy. I like him a lot. I think he's starting to become one of my favorites. If anything happens to him, I'll be so sad. But I assume not. I assume him and Nesta are a thing, right? It's like not explicitly said that they're mates, but I think that they are. But what's weird about the whole mating situation with Lucien and with Cassian is that they met the girls as humans, right? But there was nothing there. But with Rhys and Feyre, he met her as human and knew. It just got stronger when she turned Fae. So that doesn't really make sense to me. But anyway, I love him. I love how protective he is and just how funny he is. He is great. It's so funny to me that I just have a thing for people whose name is basically Cass. Like Castiel in Supernatural, Kaz Brecker, Cassian. I have a thing for this name. Interesting. I look so tired, but I think I'm going to stop here for the night. I just finished chapter 20 and I don't really have much to say. It's just a lot of setup for what I assume is going to be a war. I'm just hoping that there's like actually a battle at this point because I feel like we've been talking about war for a very long time and there has been not a lot of it. Not a lot of fighting, just a little like tiny movements across the board. Overall, I think I'm liking this one the most though. I feel like it's doing the best at making me care about the characters, and maybe it's because I've sat with them for 2 books now. Like, I actually care about who's gonna make it out of this. I have my favorites, I have my least favorites, so there is that. But the one thing I have been thinking is about Tamlin, which is weird because, you know, we know I hate him, but I feel like he was a little bit done dirty. I'll admit that. I think the fact that Feyre had left him on his wedding day and then has now left and took Lucien with her, and it kind of made it seem a little bit to Tamlin that her and Lucien were becoming a thing and then ran off with him. I just kind of feel like that is his villain origin story. And he could have maybe possibly been redeemed prior to that. I kind of feel bad for him. Is that terrible? Is that a terrible take? But I kind of feel bad for him. He's been dumped multiple times by Feyre for other men. And he was kind of like betrayed by, what's her name? Ianthe? You know, so he just kind of, he's not a great guy. But a lot of shitty things have happened to him. So I feel like if he turns into like a big baddie, we all kind of saw it coming. Okay, we are back for day 2. It is 9:30 at night. And I am just now starting to read. Okay, so I'm at a point where I'm just starting to get really bored because a lot of nothing is happening, and it's a lot of talk and a lot of like history on different characters, and it's just kind of grating. And I'm bored with this whole Elaine being depressed and Nesta just being rude all the time kind of storyline. I'm over it. I'm like, why is Elaine acting so strange? And what are these like spooky things she's seeing? I don't know. I don't understand this. And especially because I don't like her very much. I'm so bored with her being all sad and depressed and people like thinking of her as like this delicate little flower. Like, I'm over that. And I'm also so confused with what's going on with Asriel and Mor. Are they a thing? Will they be a thing? I'm gonna assume that they're not gonna be a thing. I would really like it if they would be. I still wish that her, Cassian, and Asriel were like a polyamorous sort of deal, but whatever. Cassian and Nesta doesn't make sense to me. Lucien and Elaine still make sense to me, just because they're both black. Okay, I don't even know what else to say. I'm just annoyed. I'm just annoyed right now. This is a lot of reading. A lot of words, not a lot of action. I got a super late start to reading again today because I was finishing another book, but I have just now completed the 400 chapter long meeting of the High Lords. And Tamlin coming in and being a little brat about Feyre abandoning him. I can't say that word right now, I guess. It's just so annoying. He was so frustrating. He just still does not believe that she chose Rhysand over him. I just don't understand his level of entitlement. I do still mildly feel bad about him because everyone abandoned him and his court kind of went to shit, but he's still just a little bitch. I'm sorry. He just is so, he's just a whiny little boy. A whiny little boy, and I'm done with him. And the fact that Feyre could not even hold in her temper was just hilarious to me. And how she just like blew up and everyone found out that she had all of their High Lord powers, even though that was like the one thing she said she was not going to reveal because it could be a bad thing. But anyway, Nesta is starting to grow on me, honestly. I like that she's stepping up and standing up for Cassian. I love her for that. He's still my favorite. My camera's dying. I'll update in a little bit. As I was saying, Nesta is definitely starting to grow on me. I think that her storyline is super intriguing just because we cannot get to know her and get in her brain, but you get these like little glimpses of her caring about other people so much. But at the same time, it doesn't really excuse the fact that she was just hostile to Feyre growing up and that she was just not a great person. So I am interested to see like what actually goes on in her mind, and I know that A Court of Silver Flames is from her point of view. I'm pretty sure it is. So I'm interested to get into her mind next. All right, it is officially the next day. I don't even remember what I last updated on, but I am in the middle of chapter 65, and Feyre and Asriel have just rescued Elaine from where she had been kidnapped by the king. And I just need to say, that I apologize for hating Tamlin so much, because the fact that he was willing to still try and save Feyre despite everything that she pulled and everything that she did to him, I mean, I'm not gonna fully forgive him, but it does kind of make me hate him significantly less. He kind of became a good guy, and I was so worried that he was going to be like a major villain, and he was making some poor choices, especially working with Hybern even when you thought that he wasn't. He had a few moments, but you know what, he came out the other side, and unless he does another full flip, I feel bad that I was so mean to him. But anyway, I think I'm going to be finishing this book tonight. No clue where it's going. They've had a couple battles, which I'm actually happy about. It's not just all like verbal battles. There are like people dying, which I mean is not a great thing, but you know, I wanted a war. I've been asking for a war, and I'm not impressed with how it's written. I feel like it's a lot of just like, and they're here, they fought, and now they're over here, they fight more, somebody gets hurt. But you know what, it's still a war, and that's what I asked for. And I just hope that something actually happens with this cauldron thing. I don't know if I've even mentioned how dumb I think the whole cauldron thing is. It's like a freaking pot. Like, we're literally worried about a pot, and I'm so over it. It just feels so weird. I mean, I get that like the lore of this world is like it brought life, like that's where life came from, but it's a cauldron. A big bowl. It feels silly to me, and I'm ready for it to be destroyed. We are about to go into battle. We just got Rhys's very emotional speech, and I'm going to make my predictions of who I think is going to die, based solely on who I never knew existed prior to starting this series. Characters I never heard of, characters that I don't know much, that I didn't know much about before starting. So, that being said, I think that Mor is going to die, possibly Amren, and then I would just say any of the other High Lords. There's got to be like a couple of them. I feel like I've always heard about Rhysand and Feyre, Nesta, Elaine, Azriel, Cassian. I feel like they all have been talked about so much. I've seen fan art pop up about them, even though I hadn't been reading the ACOTAR series. It was just like all over anything that you could find book talk related. They were always like the main ones that I knew about. So because I didn't know about Mor or Amren, I feel like they're the most likely to be offed. I am betting on Mor. Personally, I don't really know why. We just got her like whole reveal on why her and Azriel were never a thing, which honestly was bothering me. I just didn't understand why she wouldn't want him because he's perfect. But I get it now, and I just feel like after that it would be more tragic, because then she would have never like found love in her life. I just don't think that will happen, so it's probably gonna be Amren. It would be wild if they all made it. I would be okay with it, but I just feel like somebody's not gonna make it out. I mean, I'm like 99% sure they're gonna be able to save Rhys, but in the like 1% chance that he's actually dead, I'll be so mad. I'll be so mad. Like, I was fairly certain that Cassian wasn't going to die. Still not like 100% clear if he's like gonna be able to fly ever again, but I was certain that Cassian wasn't gonna die. I kind of figured that Feyre's dad would die. I mean, he was like the only human left, and there was only like 2 mentions of him since the first book. So like, he had his redemption arc and got dead. I called Amren. I don't know about Mor yet. I assume she's gonna live because Amren was the one to die. But Rhys, I assume he's gonna live. He's dead now, but like there's no way that's sticking. I will be shocked if he... I'll be shocked. Okay, let's finish this. It has been completed. I finished this on Sunday night, and it is now Tuesday, and I just didn't feel like talking about it right after. I was super tired when I finished, and I was also kind of conflicted on how I felt about it. So I feel like I've wrapped up some of my thoughts on it, and overall I enjoyed it. I thought it was probably the best written of the series. It had more plot elements to it, even though plot is not important to me whatsoever. The other books basically had none, so it was really nice to have some plot line to follow and go along with. But I was actually super disappointed that pretty much no one died at the end. Like Amren, we thought she died and then they found a way to bring her back. Rhys, he dies, but then they find a way to bring him back. And it just felt like a cop-out. And I don't love when characters die. It is not something that I enjoy, but I feel like when you're going into a big war like story and you have no casualties from your main group of characters, it just feels so YA. Like everyone is wrapped in bubble wrap, and I don't like that bubble wrap aspect. But there are other books like the Ember and the Ashes series that is YA, and people get hurt and main characters die. So I don't mean to like make the YA thing be an insult, because there are YA books that go there, but this one just felt like she couldn't let go of her characters, and that shouldn't have happened. I feel like out of Rhys, Cassian, and Azriel, Cassian probably should have died. There was a point where Rhys even says like he's not gonna make it out of this or something like that, and of course Cassian does. And the fact that the only person who died is Feyre, Nesta, and Elaine's father, and he was just this insignificant human who only had like a brief redemption point. It was just kind of frustrating. Like, it sucks. I'm sure that if you fall in love with all of the characters you're writing, you don't want to kill them off, but at some point after you're concluding like a big war, if everyone makes it out, it just doesn't feel like it was as high stakes, and it just felt like they were in a little bit of a disagreement with Hybern. I don't know. I'm frustrated with that part. And then I was reading reviews about how people were frustrated with the way that Mor's bisexuality was represented, and I agree. Like, her being so unsatisfied in her endeavors with men and knowing that she will only really want to be with a woman, it's just not how that goes. As a bisexual myself, it was a little like, oh, okay. I mean, I get why you're not going to be with Azriel, but you also strung him along for 500 years just because you didn't want to have one conversation and let him move on. It just wasn't a lovely point to the book. So I think overall I liked it. I mean, I'm glad nobody did die because I would have been sad, but at the same time it all felt kind of pointless. And knowing that there's so many more books that are to come, I just like, what's gonna happen? Are they all gonna make it out of every single book unscathed every time? I guess we will find out, especially because I now have both of these. So I don't know if this is something that you want me to continue on reacting to. I'm only getting like a few people watching this, so if you few who are watching want to see me continue on with the series, please let me know. If not, that is okay. I can read them on my own time and just react to them in a regular weekly reading vlog, but it's been fun to dedicate to these books because they were just so well loved in the community. So let me know how you feel about that, and I'm going to wrap up this video right now. I'm sorry I didn't get out when I wanted it to, but I hope that it was a fun time seeing how I reacted, and I hope that I am on the similar mindset of a lot of you who have read these books. So I shall see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.